Welcome back, everyone, to another episode today. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday afternoon today. As you can tell by my voice, I'm getting a little bit better. My sinus infection's starting to clear up a little bit more, and I'm not coughing as much and can actually breathe this time much better. But anyway, got a box of 1991 Traks that we're going to open up today in search of the Jeff Gordon rookie card. As you see, I've got one back here in the far right corner of the screen. That will be the card that we're looking for. I'm going to say we'll probably pull 2 or 3. We're not going to open this entire box today, but we'll do a portion of the box. I'll probably split this up into 3 or 4 videos. I did a couple videos of this last year. But as you see, it's still factory sealed. This is the front of the box. Here you see it obviously looks like a car. Very early 90s design on these packagings. So we'll go ahead and get this started. Open that up. Do this off screen just so I don't knock the camera over. And then we'll go ahead and open this box up for you guys. And we'll pull out all the packs just so we'll have them out and ready. I really like the design of this package. Very, very unique. And you can see that if you were in a hobby shop or whatever, that is how it would be displayed. So very, very nice packaging job by Traks. We'll probably open 9 or 10 of these packs today. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think there's 36 packs in the box. So we'll do probably 4 separate videos of 9 packs each. And that way we can kind of go over some of the cards a little bit more in depth and don't have to rapid fire through them. They feel thick, but I know there's no memorabilia or relic cards or autographs or really any sort of inserts in these. And they're a little tougher to open than some of the newer cards. And there's a handful of rookies in this set too. Besides the Jeff Gordon, there's also Bobby Labonte. I believe not Joe Nemechek. I'll have to look at the list. I got the list somewhere. It has all the rookies on it. But there are several rookies. A lot of crew chiefs, car owners, and so forth as well. But we'll start off this pack with Junior Johnson. Of course, Junior just passed away last year. And Junior was a multi-time championship-winning car owner. And of course, Junior also won 50 races as a driver in his career. I really like this card of Richard Petty, posed at Daytona. Of course, Richard, the all-time leading winning driver with 200 career wins. We have Donnie Wingo. I believe Donnie currently works for Front Row Motorsports. I'll have to look that one up, but he did as of last year. We have Terry Labonte, the 1984 and 1996 champion. So he currently holds the record for the longest years between championships. Should Kurt Busch win the championship this year, he would break that, as Kurt's last championship was in 2004. Here's Morgan Shepherd. Morgan still owns a car in the Xfinity Series that Landon Castle has been driving. Morgan still periodically drives the car himself. And here we go, a Dale Earnhardt card. Very nice. Centering is off just a little bit, but still a nice card. We have Tommy Houston. Tommy, a longtime Busch Series competitor, made a handful of Cup starts in the early 80s. I believe Tommy's last Cup Series start was, I'm going to say, Charlotte in 1985 with the Sadler brothers or another team that was on the part-time schedule at that time. It may have been a 32 car, if I'm remembering correctly, but I'm pretty sure Tommy's last Cup start was in Charlotte in the fall race of 85. Bobby Moody, who was a member of Dale Earnhardt's team back in the day. Of course, we have Red Farmer, member of the Alabama gang, longtime NASCAR competitor, running ARCA and all their other short track series all over the United States. We have Lou LaRosa. This is when Lou was the engine builder for Team 3 Racing. Of course, Lou was famous for building Dale Earnhardt's championship-winning engines in 86 and 87. Here we have Ned Jarrett. 1961 and 65 Cup Series champion. Alan Bestwick, who worked for MRN for many years and went to NBC when NBC started covering NASCAR in 2001. We have Barney Hall, passed away a few years ago. Barney was a longtime fixture with the Motor Racing Network. George Bradshaw, one of the 3 co-owners of TriStar Motorsports, and Lake Speed, who was the 1978 World Karting Champion. Lake has 1 Cup Series win, 1988, at Darlington in the spring race, when Darlington used to host 2 races. So we have Max Helton, who was one of the one of the instrumental founders, I believe, of the Motor Racing Outreach, kind of the chapel organization that followed the NASCAR series. We have another Morgan Shepherd card. We have Leonard Wood, one of the owners of Wood Brothers Racing. Steve Lloyd, former crew chief for Terry Labonte. Steve also bounced around from a few teams. Mike Collier, who was the pilot for Dale Earnhardt. Tommy Ellis. Tommy was the 1988 Busch Series champion. Tommy's best Cup Series finish was in 1981 at Charlotte in the fall race, where he finished 4th. We have Larry McClure, one of the former co-owners of the Morgan McClure Motorsports team, made famous by Ernie Irvan and Sterling Marlin, both former Daytona 500 winners. Michael Waltrip currently works for Fox, but this was Michael's day when he raced with the Bahari team, Pennzoil Pontiac. Alan Kwiecki, 1992 Cup Series champion. Of course, we know Alan was tragically lost in a plane crash April 1st of 1993. The recently retired Felix Sabates, one of the most outspoken car owners in NASCAR. Felix founded Sabco in late '88 and went on to win several races, most notably with Kyle Petty and Sterling Marlin as his drivers. Chuck Ryder, this is the owner of the number 30 Pennzoil Pontiac that you just seen with Michael Waltrip. This is just a Hendrick Motorsports car showing Ricky Ryder in a pit stop, which looks like it's at North Wilkesboro. Cale Yarborough, driver and owner. He's a 3-time Cup Series champion and 1 win as a car owner, 1997 Pepsi 400 with John Andretti. We have Jimmy Johnson, not the current Jimmy Johnson with Rick Hendrick, but he was one of the executives with the company early on. And Jeff Hammond, former crew chief for Darrell Waltrip, when Darrell was driving for Junior Johnson. Jeff would also crew chief with Chad Little, Kurt Busch, and a few others along the way. Looks like we have another Jeff Hammond card on the back. So this looks like it's going to be almost an identical pack to what we just had. So that shows you that quality control and the collation with 91 Traks was not the best. So we're just going to rapid fire through these cards as we've already reviewed these. And the cards are in really great shape. I will say that. The black border cards, I do not like them. Wow. Okay, a little different. So we have Leo Jackson, former owner of Precision Products Racing, Jackson Brothers Racing Team. Leo was the owner of the 33 car. Richard was the owner of the 55 and later the number 1 car. We have Jimmy Spencer. This is Travis Carter Motorsports he's driving for. Banquet Frozen Foods Lumina. We have Trickle here when he drove for Cale Yarborough in the number 66 car. Trickle was the 1989 Rookie of the Year, driving for Stavola Brothers. Then we have Glenwood. Phil Parsons. This is a Diamond Ridge early on when Gary Bechtel was getting his footing in the NASCAR door. Phil drove for several teams over the years and would later become a broadcaster, much like his older brother Benny. Kirk Shelmerdine. At this time, he was crew chief for Dale Earnhardt, but would later on become a driver in the ARCA and in the Busch Series. And I believe he has 3 ARCA wins to his credit. Tim Morgan, another co-owner for the Morgan McClure team. Jimmy Finnig, longtime crew chief for Mark Martin, but this is when he was crew chief for Bobby Allison Motorsports. We have another Alan Kwiecki card. We have Dave Marcus, Longtime owner driver, 5 career wins for Dave and over 800 starts. Don Miller, former co-owner of Penske Racing South. Mr. September, Harry Gant. Harry won 4 races in a row in late 1991. At the age of 51, Harry is the oldest driver to ever win a Cup Series race. At the age of 52 years, and I can't remember exactly how many days, but I believe it's over 200. There we have Tony Glover, former crew chief at Morgan McClure. He would also go on to be crew chief at Sabco with Sterling Marlin. We seen this card just a few minutes ago, and that's our third Jeff Hammond card of the day. Finally, we have a back that does not have Jeff Hammond on the back, but we have the Cale Yarborough Motorsports Trop Arctic Transporter. Always like the Transporter cards, but these were checklists back in the 91 Traks series. There you have the Goodwrench Transporter, the Motorcraft Transporter. Of course, during this time, Operation Desert Storm was going on, so there's a lot of patriotism showed at the NASCAR tracks. The King, Richard Petty. I believe this is card number 200, which would be the final card in the set. And we'll show you the backs of the cards as well here, that it will show you it's either a driver, an owner, a crew member, media, etc. Gives you their vitals when they were born, their family, their height, their weight, and a list of their accomplishments throughout said career. Here we have Ernie Irvan, 1991, when he was driving for Morgan McClure. He did win the Daytona 500 that year. He had 2 wins in 1991. Davey Allison. Of course, Davey tragically killed in a helicopter crash in July of 93 at Talladega, but Davey drove for Robert Yates Racing. Mike McLaughlin, very, very talented modified and Busch Series driver from the New England area. I believe he was from Waterloo, New York. Let's look at that. Yep, Waterloo, New York on Mike McLaughlin. We have another trickle card. We have Ted Condor, who was co-owner of Sabco. A lot of people think that Sabco stood for Sabatis Company. No, it was the first letters of their names. SAB for Sabatis, Co for Condor. We have Elton Sawyer, Patty Moise, the first married couple to ever race in one of the National Touring Series. That would have been in the Busch Series, of course. We have Bruce Roney, former NASCAR official. We have another Red Farmer card, Ned Jarrett, and Robbie Loomis, former longtime crew chief of Richard Petty, but he would also go to be a crew chief for Jeff Gordon later on. Apologize for my voice again. Been battling a pretty rough sinus infection. We got Hubert Hensley turned around backwards. Got a couple cards turned around backwards, so we'll just flip those around and go. Ricky Rudd, who had a consecutive start streak for a while, and most seasons consecutively in a row with winning a race from 1983 to 1998. Then we have Jeff Hammond again. We have Todd Bodine. I believe this is a rookie card of Todd's. So, Doug Reichert, longtime crewman. He was crew chief on and off various different teams as well. Tommy Ellis again. We have Ken Wilson, who worked with Michael Waltrip for a while. I believe Ken also spent time at Petty Enterprises. Got another Ted Condor card. Hank Jones. Can't remember his exact title. He's just a team member of Richard Childress Racing. But there's some information about Hank Jones if you guys just want a little bit more of that. Steve Meal, former crew chief for Mark Martin. Steve was on Terry Labonte's 1984 championship winning team with Billy Hagan. Here's Tom Higgins, well-respected motorsports writer for the Charlotte Observer. Papa Joe Hendrick, father of Rick Hendrick and longtime owner of the 25 car of Hendrick Motorsports. Jack Steele, NASCAR official. Steve Bird. Clyde McLeod. So the last two have been a couple of Busch Series crew chiefs. We have another Goodwrench transporter. Hubert Hensley, former owner of Hensley Motorsports in the Busch Series, the famous number 63 car. We have Joe Moore, VMRN. and the Sunoco Hagen Racing Transporter. So we've got a few more packs that we'll do today. Kind of keep this video a little bit short. Got an Alan Quickie on the back there, you see. Another Ricky Rudd. If I didn't mention, there are 200 cards in this set. There's a few errors and variations, but we won't get into those. Troy Beebe, former Busch Series competitor. Troy was critically injured in 1990 at Watkins Glen in a practice accident with Mark Martin and Dick Trickle. I don't know if it mentions that, but no. But he was, I can't remember the team that he was driving for, but he spun and he got hit very hard by Trickle and Martin in the S's. We have Morgan Shepherd driving for Bud Moore. He drove for Bud in 1990 and 1991, scoring 1 win in the season finale of the 1990 season. Mike Wallace, journeyman driver for many years, one of the 3 Wallace brothers also with Rusty and Kenny. Mike's best finish in the Cup Series was 2001 at Phoenix when he was driving for Penske. He finished runner-up that day. Ken Schrader, again, that's the 25 car that was owned by Papa Joe Hendrick. We have Phil Parsons again, Chuck Ryder again, Kenny Wallace. This was the Busch Series team Kenny drove for. And we have Bob Bilby, member of Bobby Allison's team. Mark Martin. Of course, Mark drove for Roush during this time period. Ted Musgrave, who was driving for Rain, Diane DeWitt, and D.K. Ulrich in the Radius Motorsports Pontiacs. Robert Presley. I can't remember the car owner of this one. I believe it was Dennis Welch, maybe, or Dan Welch, but it was the Alliance Tractor Trailer Training Centers. Monte Carlo, Lumina and Oldsmobile. We have Glenn Wood again, thanking Monte Carlo because they would just ran Monte Carlos the few years previous in the Busch Series. Of course, we know the Monte Carlos were phased out of the Cup Series in '89 in favor of the Lumina and came back in 1995. There we go. Card number 3, Dale Earnhardt, one of the nicest cards in the set. This one actually looks fairly well centered. It's still about 55-45, but card number 3. There's your stats on Dale. And this is probably my favorite card of the set, the Alan Quickie card, where he's posed out front of his shop with the big stonework there with the AK Racing. Always like that logo. That is card number 7. They tried to associate many of the card numbers with the drivers, but that's one of my favorite cards. High Speed Chaos. This is from 1991 at North Wilkesboro. 2 things give it away that show it's 1991. Rusty in the 2 Miller Genuine Draft car, as well as Kyle Petty in the Mellow Yellow car. But the 3 dead giveaway cars that show this is 91 is the 75 Dinner Bell car of Joe Ruttman, the 20 Moroso car back there, and the 7 of Alan Quickie with the white hood, but with the Hooters sponsorship on there, but also with the AK logo. That was the first year he had Hooters sponsorship, was 91. Jeff Hammond again. Barry Dodson, who was crew chief of Team 3 Racing in 1991, but he was the championship-winning crew chief for Rusty Wallace in '89. Neil Bonnet, tragically killed in 1994 at Daytona, was working for TNN and CBS at this time. Todd Bodine, another journeyman driver. This was his rookie season in the Busch Series. Don Miller. Dale Inman, longtime crew chief for Richard Petty, also Richard's cousin. We have Kyle Petty. We have Butch Miller, ferocious short track driver from the Midwest, several-time ASA champion, has 2 Busch Series wins, 1986 at Indianapolis Raceway Park and 1991, I believe, at South Boston or Hickory. One of those 2 tracks. He had a really good run that year. Larry McClure, former owner of the Morgan McClure team. We had Steve Lloyd again, Hendrick Motorsports again, and Michael Waltrip again. One more pack that we'll open for today. Still looking for that Jeff Gordon rookie card. So we have Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin. I believe this is card number 6. Yep. We have the McClure brothers. Don't ask me to name them, and I'm not going to turn the card over. We have Eddie Lanier, mechanic for Dale Earnhardt. Dale Jarrett, who got his first Cup Series win in 1991 at Michigan. I was there for that race. It was a photo finish with Davey Allison. We have Mike Collier again. Steve Grissom, who drove his family-owned team to a championship in the Busch Series in 1993, before moving up to the Cup Series with Diamond Ridge in 1994. Roger Penske. Of course, Roger's been buying up a lot of stuff. He bought the IndyCar Series as well as the Indianapolis Motor Speedway late last year, so I'm excited to see what improvements he makes. Of course, Felix Sabates, the Sabco coach, one of the first owners to introduce the coach style of living to NASCAR. Robert Yates, really good team owner, really good engine builder. Harold Elliott, another really good engine builder from the 80s. Tommy Ellis once again. Trickle. Tony Glover. And our final card of the day is Dave Marcus. Spoke briefly of Dave earlier. 5 career wins and over 800 career starts. His last coming in 1982 at Richmond. So I thank you all for watching this video, 1991 Traks, opening a wax box, a sealed box of it. Probably get 3 more videos out of this. As you see, I've got 3 more stacks. We'll do nine packs in each stack, review the cards in it. And I hope you all enjoy the video. Again, keep watching. We get to 100 subs. We got a card that we're going to give away. We'll either give away the Tony Stewart 98 VIP, the 1989 Ken Griffey Jr. Donruss, or the 2016 Topps Heritage of Braun Strowman there that you see in the middle in the back. All 3 are rookie cards, and we'll give away one of those to a lucky subscriber when we get to 100 subs. So I appreciate you guys watching. Hope you all have a really great rest of your Saturday, and enjoy the video. Come back and see us on the next one.